let's get started.
Which means, should we get started right now? Should we just get you?
Yeah, let's do it. We are the Mediocre Gamers. Myself, Travis. And that is Brad. Get it?
I'm Brad. This is Travis.
I'm Travis.
We're the Mediocre Gamers.
My name is the Goat Lord.
That's not funny. That's just not funny.
We are the Mediocre Gamers. I am Brad. And
I'm Travis.
And that is
actually.
Travis. We are live here from Complete Inbox in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Complete Inbox, as the hat would say. And today we're going to bring you some hot topics from the past week.
Today we're actually just going to go to Hot Topic.
Today we should do a live podcast from Hot Topic.
No, we're actually just going to go to Hot Topic.
We're just going to hang out.
We're canceling the podcast and just going to
Maybe
Hot Topic.
they have some good discounted records on sale right now.
Hey man, I made profit. Make that bank on those Hot Topic clearance sales and records.
They know what they're doing.
Okay, so let's talk about the thing that is games.
Travis wants to talk about games that are things that we play.
I mean, this is the Mediocre Gamers podcast, so we have to talk about games.
Yes, we are in that fact mediocre at games.
But maybe the podcast won't be so mediocre. Anyway, the first thing we should talk about is probably the Wii U, actually, which is not a dead console. I hear people arguing that. It is probably my favorite of the current generation, and something is going to make that even better, which is they're going to be adding Game Boy Advance games.
Ooh, highlight of my childhood.
Yes.
Not really, but
well,
it was up there.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance is amazing.
I mean, color was my childhood in that sense.
You know,
the Advance.
I had a regular Game Boy, but the color was like, that's when I really got into it.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, titles. What are we launching with? At launch, as of today, news states April 3rd, you should, on your Wii U, be seeing Metroid Fusion, one of my favorite, if not my favorite Metroid games, actually, in the regular world, not the Prime world. You know what I mean? Advance Wars, awesome. And Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. And in 1 week, you will also have WarioWare Inc., which is decent. The good WarioWares are the best WarioWares are for the Wii, obviously.
Yeah.
Most fun, like party games. And Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. So, I have not downloaded any yet. I'm sure I will go home and do so because we see Metroid Fusion. I will say I'm excited to see how they look. I'm hoping it'll be like a thing like, putting a PS1 game into a PS3 where it doesn't use any filters. It's actually just pixel by pixel blown up, which always looks really, really, really nice. So I'm actually really excited
about this. Can I tell you what I'm excited for? April 30th, we will see the additions of A Legend of Zelda.
Which one?
Minish Cap, yes.
Ooh,
yes.
Minish Cap is one of the best.
Followed by Mario and Luigi RPG.
Wow.
Wario Land 4, and Mario Tennis Advance, as well as Metroid Fusion.
Metroid Fusion is actually launching today.
Oh, for some reason they have it on the 30th as well.
But we'll have to go home and see.
We'll have to check that out.
I'm excited. I absolutely love my Wii U. I need to check, but either way, it's just super exciting news that we're getting the Game Boy Advance games. I wish that they would have done it for the 3DS. I think I would have appreciated that more. And some of the early buyers of the 3DS actually did get the option to buy some advanced games.
Yeah.
I just wish they would have released that. Don't get me wrong, I love having Oracle of Ages, I love having Oracle of Seasons, and some of the other Game Boy Color games, but I would have really, 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 really liked to have Game Boy Advance games on my 3DS. That would make ownership even better.
Here it's starting, so we will see where it goes with that.
It is starting, so, maybe they've been trying to bring the Wii U and the 3DS closer to each other, so hopefully that is something, maybe they'll end up kind of sharing the games a little bit, which would be really nice.
And just to touch on, I know the Wii U has been officially out for a year.
Yes.
No games, whatever. What do you want to say?
As long as, if you're a Nintendo fan, you've got games.
If you're a Nintendo fan, you have what you want. You have what you need.
Other than that, if you're looking for third-party support, it's not there. It's just regular not there.
Where it is now, it's exactly in line with the next-gen consoles. So it's no different. It has quality games that have gotten great ratings as compared to some of the next gen. Even though we're on next gen, I don't know.
I mean, if you got a Wii U, you've got Super Mario 3D World, you've got New Super Mario Bros. U, Luigi Bros. U, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which is really good. I mean, basically, as long as you bought it, being like, I'm a fan of Nintendo, I want to play Nintendo games. You got what you needed. And then, like you said, look at the rest. They have slightly fewer games. Most of them are pretty well rated. You know, like, the Wii U is no different. You know, obviously you're not getting these, like, crazy graphics on the new systems. But you also bought a Nintendo system that's not really made to have crazy graphics. It's made to run Nintendo games to look, you know, pretty and colorful. And it does exactly that. So that's, I think that's what's needed.
Yeah. Coming up next, we saw the announcement, which is now available for the public. We have Amazon Fire TV. Basically a service that Amazon is offering for $99 for your box, basically like a Roku or any of those other boxes out there.
Missing two things. Well, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
I have my things.
But $99, if you're a Prime user, you get all of the typical things that you would get on Prime that you can stream straight to your TV.
It's a similar service to Netflix, basically. Like TV shows, movies, stuff like that. Nothing brand new for free. But there is, the one difference is you can give money and get new shows as they come out, stuff like that. So it's like kind of like a premium content as well.
And along with that, they also announced their new gaming division.
Yes. We'll see how that goes. If it's, I mean, Ubisoft and some other like big companies are part of it, but Mojang, I think it's just the Pocket Edition of Minecraft, so it's probably going to be a very Ouya-like system, which the Ouya is an Android-based gaming system where you can play Android games on your TV, which is okay, I guess. I mean,
well, right now we have here. There is a confirmed list of backers right now, which includes Disney, Gameloft, 2K, Ubisoft, and Double Fine. And the nice thing about this, have you seen a picture of their controller? It looks like
the Pro controller. The Wii U Pro controller, actually. Or a nicer Xbox One controller.
Which is really nice.
Yeah. I believe it's $50 to add that on, if I'm not mistaken.
It's $40.
$40? It's not bad.
$40, which I think is a great steal for basically a system that you can buy for $99 that you can do everything that you're doing right now.
With an Ouya, and it has video services.
Yes.
So it's actually really nice. Here, let's move into the non-gaming part of it, though.
Okay.
It is missing two really big services that I immediately said I wouldn't buy it.
All right.
HBO Go.
Okay, yes.
Not part of it.
Yeah.
Need my HBO.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also missing Vudu, which is a rental service.
Okay.
It's actually a very good rental service. I've used it a few times when just, looking for a new movie. It's missing those two, and that's actually a pretty big deal.
But why does it need that when it's Amazon?
Because Amazon doesn't have HBO shows.
But not the HBO
Vudu,
the rental.
Yeah. The rental, I can understand.
All right.
But the thing is, a lot of people use it. A lot of people have the account. I mean, it could have attracted some other people as well. Just not including HBO Go. Here's the way I feel about it. I have a gaming PC. I have consoles. I have an Android phone. I'm not really concerned with having another thing that plays video games.
Right.
And I have a Chromecast, which does most of the things that this will do, except I can control it from my phone. And even though having Gary Busey yell at a controller and making it do things is pretty cool, I'm just as happy to use my Chromecast, use my phone to set some things up. It's one of those things where if you don't have anything like this, if you want to play Android games on your TV and you don't have some kind of set-top box or a Chromecast or something like that, or one of the HDMI dongles, this is a great jumping in one. But the Chromecast is still out there for $35. If you've already got Netflix and HBO and you don't plan on playing games, the Chromecast is probably a better choice.
Yeah.
Just how it is. So, it's a cool idea. Good for someone new to it, but if you've already got your setup, probably nothing you're looking at.
You're probably set.
Yeah.
Unless you want to condense, you do everything that you do on Amazon. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know a single person who's like, yeah, everything I do is on Amazon. I buy everything on Amazon. My whole life is purchased on Amazon. But if we're talking about video and cloud services, I do nothing on Amazon.
Exactly.
Just because, not that theirs is bad, it's just there's been so many other options for so long. I already have what I like. I have Google All Access. I have Netflix. I have all of these things that were just there for longer. So,
right.
And I'm happy with the services. So no reason for me to move on. So, let's continue on the console route and talking about more video game things. Let's actually go back to video games.
All right.
The Xbox.
Oh, let me talk about this one.
All right.
Okay. The Xbox One. There are so many rumors circulating right now that they are working to cut the price from the original $499 price to $449 on the new console, with the extra incentive of that bundle still being at $499 for a Titanfall bundle.
Yes. So basically, the way they're hoping you look at it is they're price cutting it by $50. It's $450. You also get a brand new, very good $60 game.
Yes.
In that bundle. So even though it costs $450, they're hoping you look at it as it really costs $390 since it comes to Titanfall, because the PlayStation 4 is $400, so they're thinking, oh, maybe people will see it as costing $10 less. PlayStation 4 doesn't come with any games, so maybe people will be like, oh, if we're going to start something, let's jump into the Xbox One.
Yes.
But,
who knows? Here's our coworker, Trevor, Mr. Trevor Brossman, stepping away.
Yeah, now he's nervous. So we're good.
Doesn't want in. All right.
Yeah, I mean, $50 price cut, it needs it, because, I mean, there's theories of why it costs $100 more. The main one, obviously, being you have to buy it with a Kinect. You're paying for that technology. Our kind of guess is either Sony told them to up the price to be competitive so you can have a Blu-ray drive, or they just charged them out the wazoo to have a Blu-ray drive in the Xbox One, and that made it more expensive. So they have to do something. I mean, we work here, Complete Box, where we sell video games. I think the PS4 has, I'm pretty sure I've been asked about the PS4 way more, because that $100 price difference is insane.
Yeah.
And you're not worried about a camera all the time, stuff like that. So people are like, so I mean.
Now here's the one thing I've been thinking about recently. They're basically the same system, right?
Just to put it out there, internally, they are both more or less gaming PCs. The only real difference is the graphics RAM is the same on both of them, except one is DDR3 and one is DDR5. DDR5 being the PS4.
Yes.
So things might run a few more frames a second. It's really not a big deal. Anyway, yes. So they're just different boxes.
Why is it when you have the... If we take a comparison of, I don't know, what has been multi-platform so far, Call of Duty.
Ghost
Yes.
is multi-platform.
Okay. Why for the Xbox One, if these are similar systems, one that you're paying more for,
yeah.
Why on the Xbox One is it basically upscaled 720
Yep.
instead of a perfect 1080p, which you have on the PS4? I don't understand that. Why would...
it's funny. It's actually kind of backwards, because last generation, I mean, the Xbox upscaled, but the PS3 ran everything in 720. There's no 1080 games for it. So it's kind of funny how that's switched around this time.
I don't know. Was that part of the ploy? Are they selling them? I don't know. Are they making it so that their technology isn't well, or are they just not developing it? Is it more difficult?
Yeah, and I thought it was weird too. I mean, Titanfall, which has been like this is Xbox One, this is Xbox One. We're also releasing it for PC, but this is an Xbox One game. I can run that on insane I think I talked about this last time. I can run it on insane graphics at 60 frames a second in 1080. It's 792 on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So and just to put it out there, my rig isn't insane. Honestly, there are much more powerful rigs.
I mean, I can run it on my laptop beautifully. I can run it about what it's running on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And
it's a laptop.
It's a laptop.
It's a laptop. So it's frustrating. I mean, everybody wanted a bigger jump, but I mean, problem one is you can only double polygons until the human eye can't tell the difference. We've hit it. You can keep adding polygons. The human eye is going to look the same to us. The big jump was frame rate, which pretty much everything runs 60 now. Thank God, that's the best thing. And more lighting effects, things like that. Like the horsepower isn't going through textures anymore. It's going to other things. I mean, out of the Uncanny Valley, all this other kind of stuff, But I still wanted I want, because of this jump, I'm like, oh, cool. So I get a bunch of 1080p games at 60 frames a second. No, I get a bunch of 792 games at 60 frames a second. That's crap. I'm not okay with that.
I won't understand that. But could this also be a thing of a complete marketing ploy to try to sell more devices? I mean, out of Europe, we've seen that the PS4 is selling at 7-to-1 rates.
Yep.
Which is huge. For every one system they sell of an Xbox One, they are selling 7 more systems.
Yeah, and like I said, we can see that here. When you get a call that's probably 7-to-1, someone's asking for a PS4 or the Xbox One.
Yeah, I mean, it's not...
maybe not
it's closer to
but
50-50. I would say it's probably,
I think it's swings
for
towards
every
PS4.
one system, it's
maybe 2 PS4 calls. It's just... and I feel like Microsoft did too much damage to themselves in the beginning. And they thought, okay, well, we take back the Always Online, they did take all of it back. And I was sitting there wondering, as, they're talking about this, like, is this going to affect their sales still? Like, are people already mad about this? And now that the Xbox One's been out for a while, I think so. I mean, like I said, we see them being sold, we work where they're dealt with. And I think they actually shot themselves in the foot. Even though they tried to go back and fix it, I don't think it totally worked.
When they came out with it, I was a little upset, with their initial plan. Let's have everything, online, let's download it to the system. And I'm thinking, you know what? That won't be so bad. Whatever. And then they come back and they backtrack. And it's like...
I was
preparing myself for that.
There is a problem with the Always Online. And let's look at the only platform that's ever worked on to move to totally online, and that is Steam. Before
we get to that, I do have to bring up a point. They started to somewhat do that anyways.
With the Xbox Gold, getting your deals, they did a little.
With the 360, in the fact that over the past year, I had a 360. I played my online games on there with my friends, whatever. Back in December, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna cancel Gold. I'm gonna let it run out. I canceled my subscription.
I was around for this,
right,
which was a nightmare for you.
So I canceled it, right? So I'm not using my online service. But I go to log in to play one of my games. That's completely offline. You can't play this game online. But it wouldn't bring up my saves from my hard drive
because you didn't have Gold.
I wasn't logged in to my subscription, and that just doesn't make sense. What? It's in my system. It is physically in my system, and I can't tap into that. But along with that, on top of that, I canceled my subscription. Right? I did it. I thought I did it. What's this?
But you didn't do it because you still got charged.
Next month, I get a $60 charge.
Yep.
For another year. And I'm sitting there, and I have to call them up to fix this all up.
Which was also terrible. Again, I was there for that.
Some valley girl was talking to me, trying to explain that, I'm so sorry for your loss, man. I was like, just give me the money back. Come on. But anyways, go ahead.
With the
sorry
Xbox,
about that.
when they originally talked about moving into like an online-only platform, no-use games, like I said, the only time that has ever worked is with Steam. If you don't know, Steam is what you use on basically, it's where you buy your PC games. You could buy them in a store. Honestly, that's dead. There are some game stores that are like, Steam is our competition. Steam's a backward. We understand that we can't compete with it. It's not even a competition. We're not competition. We can't do anything to beat it. Yeah. And what it is, it's software you open up, and it's a store. It's an online store. It launches all your games as well. What makes Steam work so well is, one, all of your save games. We're going to start here. We're going to start little, actually. Okay. All of your save games, all cloud-based, so, I can play on my laptop for a while. I'm playing, Arkham Origins. Get like halfway through, save it, I can move to my desktop, play it with better graphics and everything like that, right from where I was. Nice things like that. Interface works very well. It used to be very unstable, but now it is. But the big reason Steam does so well is sales. It drops prices. I just got Arkham Origins. It's not on sale anymore, so sorry, you can't jump on it. $10. And $10 for Arkham Origins.
For a game that I probably won't play for a long time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Steam, they'll have such good sales, you'll just buy a game even if you don't need it. But they have big, summer, they have seasonal sales. and they're crazy. Tons of games go on sale. Basically, if you want something, everyone waits until it's on a seasonal sale or a daily deal, and then they buy it. Now,
last summer, I bought the entire Tomb Raider collection, including the newest Tomb Raider that just came out last year. I bought it for $17.
Or it was $17. $12.75 without the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I got the new Tomb Raider for $5.
Yeah, but yeah. It's great. Now, not to say I still buy console games. I'm not like super cheap. Only moved into PC. Well, the newest generation of consoles, I guess, kind of pushed me towards PC.
Yeah. Because
it's basically just a better version of both those consoles. But Xbox One would have had to do that to compete, to make this basically Valve, the people who made Steam, learned to make an online-only service work. We got to make it cheap. Because if you're not giving them something physical, they don't want to pay for it. And you know what? It feels like crap when I think it feels like crap when you pay $60 and I can't hold it, I can't look at it. It's just this piece of data. I'm not into that. I like to have these things. But that $60 thing, you can charge me $25 for it. I don't feel that bad.
No.
And Microsoft, as much as they're really not the worst company. Their gaming divisions. But as a company in general, Bill Gates, good guy. A lot of the stuff they do is pretty good. But we all know they would have never been okay with letting games go for crazy cheap like that, and doing it frequently enough.
And with that,
it would have picked up.
And with that, it's also nice what am I saying? It's nice knowing that it necessarily isn't physical, but you can use it cross-platform. You can use, most of the games on there, you can use, if you have a PC, you can run it on your PC. You can download it for your Mac if you have a Mac.
Yeah, and even Linux.
And even Linux.
And their big thing is they're actually pushing really, really, really hard for Linux support. The reason is SteamOS is a thing now, which is basically they can turn a computer into a Steam gaming console.
Yeah.
So... And that runs on Linux, because Linux is a free operating system. I use it, actually. And since it's free, that's what they move towards developing for. So it's basically a specially skinned version of this. So they're actually, I forget what the exact percentage of it, honestly, it doesn't matter, but basically they want the entire Steam catalog to have X percentage of Linux compatibility. And they basically want to bring PC gaming, kind of drop it from Windows and bring everybody over to Linux.
Mm-hmm.
So basically... That's great. I mean, that's great for me. I mean, I run Linux. I'd be thrilled if they did that.
Yeah.
But we went crazy back on a tangent there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it's still something to talk about. Still good.
Anyways, so we want to move on to our next topic. We kind of wrapped that up. You didn't have anything else really about that?
No, I talked about Steam.
Okay.
Again, always.
Travis plugging Steam in every episode since 2010. Okay. Even though we haven't been around that long. Oh, anyways. Travis,
let's go.
Take it away.
April Fool's jokes. I don't want to cover any of the ones the internet had, because April Fool's is a day where you go on the internet and nothing is real. The one thing, now I busted this right away. There is one I'll talk about besides the one we're going to talk about. That is the Garrus body pillow from Mass Effect. Here's the thing. BioWare likes money, and EA likes money, so I was hoping that even though it was a joke, they'd actually sell me a $40 Garrus body pillow. I'd have bought that. I want to cuddle with Garrus every night. Wasn't real, couldn't buy it at all. Hate the internet. Anyway, we're going to talk about one of the April Fool's things, which actually really wasn't a Fool's thing. It was actually more just for fun.
Yeah.
And that was Google had a Pokemon challenge, where on the newest map updates, there would be Pokemon for you to go out on the map and catch, and you had basically 2 days to get 150 Pokemon. They weren't all first gen, even though there was 150. There was a few different ones, but
right.
Yeah, which that's super cool. And I mean, it was basically like an augmented reality game, and that's great. To me, I wish that was the April Fool's stuff. So fooled you. They just gave you a day of fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool. There were so many stupid things I saw, so many stupid advertisements where it even blew my mind if people followed them. I really don't even like going to the internet on April 1st, but I mean, it's whatever. But at least the Google thing was actually a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. I caught 2 Pokemon. I figured that justifies me as what I would be as a Pokemon catcher or, a trainer. I feel like
because obviously the only real play is to catch the 3 you really want, level them up until you can't level them up anymore, and I beat the game with 3 Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Who actually catches them all?
Who catches all of them?
I catch them all.
I think Yeah, when I had 100 hours into a game, I did catch them all.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We're grown dudes now.
I don't want to.
We don't have time to catch them all.
Ain't nobody got no time for that.
That wasn't good. Podcast over. We're
I
done.
quit. No. See, there were two that I saw that. Well, every year I get in my mind that I'm going to do the Saran wrap, and then I never, Saran wrap on the toilet. Just because.
I'll kill you.
Well, here's the thing. My wife, she gets up so early in the morning. My wife,
All right.
she gets up so early in the morning that she doesn't know where she is. So the fact that I would be able to do that, just kind of every year I think about it, it would be. One that I saw that I actually kind of would like to do. You know where the two little knobs where the on the toilet seat where they touch the bowl?
Yeah.
Somebody took the, what are those called? Like the, I want to call it the Chinese
the snappers.
The snappers. You put them right underneath of that.
Also.
You put them right there, and then you gently put the seat down, and then when they sit on it, it pops, and you're like freaking out. See, I would have pooped myself doing that, and that would have been great. I would have appreciated something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's good.
That was a good one, but
you gotta get regular, son. I mean, that helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our April Fool's coverage because we refuse to do anymore. Anyway, Brad every week likes to cover his current comic readings, and since we're gamers and, these things kind of cross into each other like in comics.
Oh, for me, they are 100% a crossover. Sorry.
I mean, if you say so. But anyway, let's talk about what Brad's been reading this week.
Okay, so I love being able to have this day where it is Thursday after Wednesday because new comic books come out on Wednesdays, and it is just a big deal. So my first read that I actually haven't read yet, I've been looking forward to reading it, is the new run of Daredevil. Daredevil #1 started, I believe it started yesterday. It is, well, I have to say this first. I'm not the biggest fanboy of Marvel. The last 10 years, they have done some ridiculous things where they have just restarted their universe over and over again, all at the same time, all of their characters starting from fresh.
What is canon?
I just, you start back up. For some reason, you got to start back at the same time so that so you can do all your crossovers together. I mean,
I hate crossovers.
I just can't do it. I can't do it. I was not a fan of Civil War. But this is volume 4 of Daredevil that's just started. I'm looking forward to read it. Hopefully it brings a new, fresh light to Daredevil. I don't know if you can do that. But that is where...
The cover is very... It reminds me of the movie Drive.
Can I tell you...
With its pink accents and things
like that. Can I tell you, they
released this...
Now, don't quote me. I believe there are 6 Daredevil issue #1 covers. There are the incentive ones. But if you look at them, a lot of them go back to the 90s. There's the famous Daredevil walking on, the baby Daredevil walking on the tightrope. That's one of these covers. I just don't know. It's like they're reusing the same images. I'm a little bit thrown off by some of the art cover, and one thing that, if you read Marvel, it's just laced with ads in the middle of the reading, which I've always hated about them doing.
We'll say about the art, it's almost like a poor man's Mignola, kind of. Like a little bit. Mike Mignola does Hellboy, all the BPRD stuff. He's very...
that's an accurate description.
Doesn't do, he shades, but, black, so it will be heavy inked on black, and actually, usually there's very little red aside from Hellboy. And actually, it looked kind of like this, except it was very little red except for, Daredevil. Yeah. Except there's also pink. It was very, like I said, poor man's Mike Mignola, kind of. So, I don't know how I feel about that.
So
but if the story's good.
I plan on reading it. It's not one of those that I plan on necessarily subscribing to. I just picked it up to see where it started. My next one that I read, that I did read, and I put a review up. Look on our Facebook page. We have a WordPress. Basically, I'm going to throw my favorite reviews up for the week, or just whatever I read that week. I'm going to try to
even post, I might. We'll see.
Yeah, I try to post some reviews. First one I read was Deadpool vs. Carnage #1, a brand new series that just started yesterday. It is in fact Deadpool and Carnage in the same.
Show it off and make eyes in our viewers. Might make some eyes.
So here's the quick synopsis. This isn't really even a synopsis. This is what they put out about to say what it's going to be. Two red suited madmen for the price of one. That's right. Good crazy versus bad crazy. Once and for all. And you bet it's going to be a bloody one. So here's what I wrote. Here's what I said this first issue was about. In this new series, Carnage has escaped from prison and is back to his murderous ways. Witnessing on the news in New York, Deadpool, at first hesitant, decides to seek out Carnage to end his rage. The first issue just ends in them fighting.
And comedy ensues.
Yeah. Deadpool's whole thing is he doesn't want to do it, but he keeps getting signs from people telling him to do it just by watching TV or walking through the mall and people looking at him funny.
I always liked Deadpool, but lately I'm just kind of over it. Like, he blew up, and I get the humor part, but now I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's Deadpool. Like, now it's like, yeah, Deadpool, yeah, it's funny.
You know,
I don't know.
The writing, I thought the writing was decent. It jumped around from scene to scene a little too much for my liking, but, you know, it's fun. It's a good breakup between reading some serious stuff or whatever, but, I don't know, 6 out of 10, that's my review.
Light 6? Strong 6? Light 6? Light 6 out of 10?
A light 6 out of 10, yeah. It's not going to be worse than a 6, it's not going to be better than a 6. It's just something, if you want to read it, you know?
Yeah, if you like Deadpool or Carnage, read it.
You know what, growing up, reading Deadpool, I mean, it feels like I'm reading that again,
That's
so
cool.
It's no different. Next on my pile is something I've wanted to read, Seekers of the Weird. This comic is the first comic published by the Disney company under the Marvel name. I was skeptical at first. I didn't read it yet, but the art looks really good. And I'm kind of excited because let's see what Disney has to offer to the comic book world. That's my thing on that. Self-Obsessed, an Image one-shot. Just read it. I can't tell you anything about it. You just have to read it. It's a good story. It's one of those.
Gotcha.
So sorry. Sorry I can't give you an in-depth review on that. I will say it was really good. What do we got next there? Shotgun Wedding.
I'm sorry, I kept staring at it because the guy's last name was Pun, and I was trying really hard to come up with something. I couldn't.
His name's Edward Pun.
Yeah, it's Edward Pun.
Shotgun Wedding. This... If you like to read comic books, I guess, I don't know. If you like to read comic books, read this. This is a series that you need to read. And it is a Top Cow production, if that tells you anything, produced by Image.
Okay, that says a lot about this comic, actually.
This is just brief backstory. A man is getting married that day, and he ends up standing up his wife, leaving her a note that says, "I'm sorry." That's all it says. He just leaves. No background story for it, whatever. But she grabs a gun and decides to go after him. It jumps to the present, and apparently she's a psychopath, but you don't know why. You don't know who's making what side up about this. So it's a very back-and-forth story. She ends up... Minor spoiler, but if you read it, whatever. She ends up killing his father, and he ends up...
Seems a little bit irrational.
Yeah. He ends up... He is engaged to another woman now. I give this comic a perfect 10 out of 10. Spot on. I'm ready to read the next issue already, and I can't wait for next month. Is this the last one?
Last one.
This is The Field, or as they seem to be calling it, just Field. Here's a brief synopsis of this. This I did give a review on if you would like to read it. A man wakes up in a field wearing nothing but his underwear. He's got no idea who he is or how he got there. His only connection to the outside world is a cell phone that receives mysterious text messages warning him, of impending danger. Danger like Christian, an ex-Bible salesman in the middle of a crime spree fueled by Christian rock, dirty sex, meth, murder, and keeping this underwear-clad, nameless, and passless man close by his side.
That just sounds like a Tuesday to me.
Now, let me just throw the mature rating on that. This one is clearly for the mature audience. But the concept of a man waking up not knowing who he is, where he is, and having to live his life by this cell phone that's giving him mysterious
not like a
messages.
super new idea, but they added the way it's told brings much more interest to it. Obviously,
I don't want to say too much about it because I really think it is a good story so far. This is a one of four. It's a short series, one of four. Each are coming out each week of April, so I'm really excited. It's going to be really fast paced. It's going to move along quick.
What if this is an April Fool's joke? And
Then if this has been an April Fool's joke, I've been reading about this for the last 2 months. I can't even.
They really didn't plan it. They knew. They knew.
They knew that I was specifically going to be reading this. If you read comics, please read this. This is worth it. A brilliant script by Ed Brisson, pencils by Simon Roy. It's great work all around. I gave it a 9 out of 10, just because there is one part that I'm very skeptical of. He has a flashback or some sort of recollection of a memory of his, and I wasn't sure where they were going with it.
Well, you'll find out.
I'll find out.
It could be a 10 out of 10 later.
But it was one of those where I didn't think it was the right break for it. So we'll see. It could be that, it's just one of those things that will end up being a 10 out of 10. And I'm looking forward to reading that next week. I'm also very excited, looking forward to the end of the month. They just ended the official first run of The Amazing Spider-Man. If you followed the Amazing Spider-Man series at all, you know that stems back to the, I want to say 60s is when the official first run of The Amazing Spider-Man started. Of course, you have The Amazing Fantasy with his first appearance much earlier, but you have this series, the first volume running until, I want to say 2003, and then there was a gap where they started a second volume, but they finished that, and that started back up in, I want to say 2007, and it's just ending now. To start a new series of The Amazing Spider-Man. It comes out.
Are we going back to origin story again? That far?
I don't know. But April 30th, the new one comes out. It is a 64-page double. So it'll be $5.99, I believe.
It'll be interesting either way, I'm sure.
I'm excited and looking forward to that. So, also, I have to mention this. I found this. If you've watched us talk about this before, you know that I really enjoy Chew, a series by Image. Basically anything Image. Half my stack is always of Image to read. Image is coming out with a new series next month called Nailbiter. It is about a detective who has to use, now this is going to sound like Silence of the Lambs, he has to use a convicted felon to help him solve his cases. Now, it's going to be very much along the line, it sounds very much like how kind of Chew is with the eating of human flesh to be able to identify where these criminals are. But this guy apparently has done some messed up stuff, and I am ready to read it.
I mean, Image, early Image was always kind of goofy, but, recently, I think they're definitely one of the top publishers.
Image, superheroes aside, I mean, I know comics goes back to, it's about the superheroes. I don't know. The way that the comic industry seems to be moving is short stories.
Recently we're seeing way more not limited runs, but a one of four. A lot more of that lately, and a lot of not superhero stuff has been really picking up. I mean, you got to say it. It probably started with The Walking Dead. I think that's probably when the industry saw something really we can do this thing without superheroes, and it can blow completely up. Yeah. And
But that's what I'm excited for. That's what I'm looking forward to. Those are the comics of this week. Next week we will have a whole... Oh, I'm sorry. No, before I close my comic book section, look forward to next week. Next week we have the first issue of Batman Eternal, which is a limited. I will say limited because it does have an end set date. It is a 60-week, every week run. So for 60 straight weeks they are going to be putting out an issue, and I am excited for that. Let's hope the story doesn't drag out too much, but it is they have a complete story arc already made. starting next week, every week. I don't know if I can even handle this. I'm excited for that. I have recently been turned on to Batman with the newer Batman stuff that has been coming out, and I think that this will definitely make Batman still and always will be the superhero of choice for most people.
Yeah.
So that's it. That is the Comic Corner section of this podcast, and let's wrap it up with one final topic that I think is near and dear to Travis's heart.
It is, and this is not something I wouldn't normally talk about. Brad actually was like, you should do it. And we can swing it to games. There are two big smartphones coming out and out right now. That will be the new flagships. And, I mean, this probably matters. A lot of people play video games. I mean, I know, like a lot of people who are into that, I know have smartphones, and they play games on their phones as well, whether they're buying things from the store or even emulating them. So there's some things that would be, this is something that kind of ties in, I guess, more to the culture than to the thing itself.
Yeah.
So these two phones coming out are the HTC One M8, which is not to be confused with the HTC One.
Yes.
And the Galaxy S5. So, I'll go with first impressions. The other thing I decided to do, I'm going to compare this with the Nexus 5, which is actually what I own, and really, until these two phones came out, was really, like, kind of top of the market, as far as, like, bells, whistles, and all that fun stuff. Start with physically. Even though the HTC One M8 is a little heavier, a little thicker than the rest, aluminum case. And honestly, I like a heavy phone. Some people are like, no, I want lighter in my hand, stuff like that. I like that substantial feel. I think it's comfortable. I think it's nice. The brushed aluminum looks very pretty on it. And then we'll give number 2 to the Nexus 5, actually. Very simple, clean design. It's plastic, but, it's just nothing to complain about. It's really, really, really minimal. It's a phone, and that's all it needs to look like. Last is the S5, which has that horrible, pleather, punched pleather back, like the Note does, which I think is awful looking.
Why couldn't? Okay.
And it's funny. I always complain about how Samsung looks like cheap plastic, and they need to do something about that. And now I'm like, let's go back to that cheap plastic look.
Yeah.
Man, it's a fingerprint magnet. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't look that great.
See, here's the thing. I owned the S3. I guess that's how long ago it's been now.
It's been a while.
But I like the back of it.
It's better than that goofy punched
Why do
leather.
I have to do that?
Okay, so next thing we'll talk about is screens.
Okay, wait.
Okay, you have something to say about the looks?
I hate the HTC look. I hate it.
I don't like it either.
We've been going so much to flat backs, and this back is a round,
or at least flat-ish.
Flat-ish. This is still a big
rounded. You know what? It still looks like the Thunderbolt, which is their first 4G phone with the Desire.
Yes, it does.
They really haven't changed their look, which is frustrating.
It's huge. It gives us a bigger screen, but still,
I like that. I don't mind that. I like that big heavy feel.
I don't know. It's just there's a thickness about that that's almost going to be like I don't think it's going to fit.
See, that's the, I don't mind the heavier in the aluminum, but it is a little too thick.
You know what it reminds me of?
It's just too thick.
It reminds me of a flask.
Yeah, it actually is very flask shaped. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
Next part. Screens.
Yes.
The AMOLED was a thing that a lot of people tried to jump on at first because they're brighter. So, if we're talking about what's camera friendly, what is gonna at first hand look better and draw someone in because it's bright, that'll go to the S5. However, LCDs have better color reproduction and look better. All three of these screens run at 1080p. I would probably mostly go with a toss-up between Nexus 5 and the HTC One M8. The Nexus 5 actually has a higher pixel density, so technically edges are going to be a little crisper, but it's by a few pixels. It's not by anything crazy. It's I believe 445 to 441. That's nothing. But I'll give them a tie. I mean, like I said, if you want something that your friends are going to freak out over immediately, it's the S5. But if you're looking for something that's just going to look better and reproduce your colors better, which if you're playing games on your phone is definitely what you want, you've got to give the edge to either the 5 or the M8. So we'll move on from there, which is display. All three have a 5-inch. Actually, the HTC's 5.1. Not that big of a difference. We're still talking about screen here. It's really, really, really no big deal. I mean, the only thing is the Nexus 5, I guess, actually has a much better scratch-resistant glass than the S5 and the M8. So that to me is a big deal. I'm horrible at owning a cell phone. I drop mine constantly. It's that's a big deal. So as far as that goes, that's no big deal. Camera would probably also matter to a lot of people. The only thing that people are a little bit disappointed about with the Nexus 5 is that when it was released, it only had an 8-megapixel camera. They didn't update it for the 4. The camera's so really. It's okay. It's not great. The HDR Plus, it looks nice. The winner here is going to be the 16-megapixel 4K video taking S5. That's going to be. I mean, camera. I'm sure the S5 is going to win that. I haven't gotten to use the M8 or the S5 yet, but I mean, just from specs alone, we kind of know where that's going to go. Which people really camera matters. Hardware. It's funny. The Nexus 5 was released last year for $350, which is super cheap for a smartphone at that level. It has 2 gigs of RAM, which is also what the other two had. It also has decent battery life at like 17 hours. That's talk time. And you have a 2260 megahertz processor.
Yes.
Which is funny. We've only gone up to 23 and 25. So, when they released the Nexus 5, they released a very, 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 very amazing phone for cheap. And it's only now being edged out from this, we're now at this point where you don't see these like crazy replacements immediately. Like the technology hasn't gone quite as fast. But I guess if we're going to talk about all of these things, and I'm going to talk about like what does better for games, things like that, and I guess I should talk about which I should buy. I still buy the Nexus 5.
Yeah.
I'm not just fanboy. Here's the thing. There's one thing I didn't talk about, and I kind of left it for this reason. There's one thing that I hate about both of the other ones, and that is the user interface they're running.
Okay.
You have Sense with HTC, which is just not nearly as intuitive as your standard Android phone, and you have TouchWiz by Samsung, which is just the ugliest thing in the world. It just does not look pretty unless you're changing the user interface. No, it's just, and the Nexus 5 is easier to use. And price, it costs half of what the other two do. And that's a big deal. The thing is, you're paying half, but you're not getting half the technology. You're paying half and getting like 80% of the technology.
Yes.
Which, to me, I'm always like, especially with phones, I'm always like, I need the newest, best thing. Man, but if you're going to ask me, like, it's hard to want to go for the newest and best thing when it's only $350. And on top of that, one of the phones is Behemoth and the other one is this clever, weird-looking thing.
Now,
so, yeah, I actually would still give it to the Nexus 5 even after all this time.
Here's a few things that most people might not think about when they're considering a phone, but something that is actually pretty cool and pretty practical. The S5 is offering water resistance and replaceable batteries.
That's
That's
nice.
a thing now.
Actually, I will say it's very easy to pop off the back of the Nexus 5 to replace something. I have maybe had to do that already.
I'm not saying that's a selling point, but
here's my complaint about that: it's dust and water resistant, and part of that means there's a tab over the charging port. If I would buy an S5, I'm sure the first thing I would do is get out a knife and cut off that tab for the charging port. I'm not going on any like crazy expeditions where that matters. And guess what? They make OtterBoxes and ballistic cases that have these tabs. So if I'm going somewhere, I'm going to put a case like that on it. Do I want that stupid tab there every day getting around with, when I charge my phone, when I'm going to bed, I'm tired. I just want to set an alarm and hit the sack. I don't want to screw around in the dark with this stupid tab trying to charge it. That, like I said, it might be nice if you like hike constantly and don't want a big case or something, but I'd rather just have a big case than that. So.
And then the point with the M8, it's obviously the heaviest and the slipperiest.
Yeah, I mean, it's aluminum. It's going to slide. actually best grip you're going to get out of the S5, even though it's that ugly leather
and also
about that, it sticks to you.
Also, with the size, it's too big to do things one-handed. It's saying that it's very difficult to actually unlock the phone with one hand.
Honestly, the Nexus 5, I think, is just under the line of too big to use one hand.
Now, my one thing,
and only by this much.
one thing that I would complain about, which they seem like with the newer two that they've come out with the 5, with the Nexus 5, it still has the headphone jack on the top, which has been something that has been moved away from recently. I don't know how much that bothers some people.
I need it at the top, man.
It bothers. I like to put when I put my phone in, I put it down, and when I have a headphone plugged in, I gotta turn it around. So it kind of throws me off a little bit, but that's not bad.
So you'd rather have it on the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense if that's you put it in. I actually put mine in bottom down, so it works for me.
But I mean, the rubber back makes it easier to grip. So you know, they all have their pros, they all have their cons, but. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, there's going to be new phones next year when I'm trying to pick my upgrade. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We're having some chat spam going on right now, which I really wish would not be happening because now people are actually trying to talk to us. But yeah, sorry, I got a little distracted there. Anyway, we talk about phones, like I said. If we're talking about gaming, if you want the newest and best. Bigger and heavier. Here's the thing: I hate TouchWiz, and I really don't like that stupid pleather look that Samsung insists on using. So I'd still probably get the HTC, even if it is a huge tank. Rather use Sense and rather have that aluminum look. If I'm going to go with the new ones, honestly, I'd still be just as happy to have the Nexus 5. Which, like I said, you're paying half the price and still getting like 80% of the technology. So. That's what I have to say about that.
All right. On that note, it sounds like we're wrapping up for the day.
We're wrapping up. Unfortunately, it's actually been a little bit of a slow week for games. Not like crazy big news, but hopefully you're all filled in right now. And
check us out both at Facebook / the Mediocre Gamers. You can find us there. We have our own page. Check the description and the links. I mean, I'm sure we have the links on there. That didn't make any sense at all. You can also follow us. On Twitter at the MDCRGMRSs. Follow us there. We also have WordPress, but look us up on Facebook, give us a like, and anything that you might want to hear us talk about, just send us a link.
Yes, please. I mean, feel free to post it right on the wall. We'll take a look at it. We'll talk to you a little bit, and like if we find some good stories, I'm sure they'll end up on the air.
Also, we would like to shout out.
Yeah, we're gonna plug. We're gonna plug. We decided we're gonna plug. It was last minute decision. We're gonna plug. Plug number 1, Complete in Box. This is where we work. This is where we film. They're nice enough to give us basically an hour's break just to kind of hang out and do this. On a slow Thursday. I guess that's how. But it doesn't matter. This is where we work. This is where we get our news, really.
Yes.
We hear a lot about that. So, plug number 1. Plug number 2. There's something in the works between some of the gaming places. So I'll give it to right up the road. That's Rabbit Run Games. All of your Magic the Gathering and other card game Kaijudo is what they're getting into now. They also dabble just a bit in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, but your gaming needs, that's where you can go there. If you can shuffle it, they've got it. Number 3 we'll give is...
I like that. If you can shuffle it, they got it.
And if you can't shuffle it, but it's still on the tabletop, you have War and Pieces. That is in Lancaster. They also help us out a great deal. If you're into either D&D, Warhammer, they do some Magic, some smaller stuff like that. Not as much, but Pathfinder, your tabletop gaming, all of your needs there. We are as companies working together, and we're trying to figure out a way to get games to you in a better way. Mm-hmm. So look out for that in the future. But I think as far as that goes, and you know what I'll say? If you go to CIB TV, YouTube, the Complete Box channel, tons of Let's Plays from Trevor, Spencer, and Brandon. Also something you can definitely check out if you want to watch. We'll broadcast here and there, but if you want a lot of in-depth Let's Plays, that's where you can get them. Yeah, check us out, check them out. We are live from Complete Box. Oh no, War and Pieces Kyle is in the chat room. I didn't even know. Actually, well, yeah, there you go. You got a shout out today. Look at you, and the shirt. So, there we go.
Check us out, follow us, do the likes, whatever you want to do. Find us on Facebook. come visit us sometimes. We're always here. We always like to talk about anything and everything.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be mostly gaming centric, but if you have some other suggestions or if you just like some opinions, let us know.
So we are Travis and Brad. I'm Brad. He's Travis. We're live from Complete Inbox, and we will see you next time around this week.
Around this time.
Around this time next week.
Man, now the whole show's on.
It has been a long podcast. We are the Mediocre Gamers. We will see you